The Turd Tale Shart by Edgar Allen Poes. Nervous. Very dreadfully nervous I had been and am. The disease had sharpened my bowels, almost destroyed. Beyond the rumbles of my tummy I heard all things in heaven and the earth. I heard many things from the bowels of hell. How, then, am I gaseous? Observe how I anxiously try and stay calm while I tell you the whole story. It is impossible to say with the first thing I ingested this morning, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. To download Tinder was the object. Passion was a big titty goth girlfriend. We matched yesterday. Oh, how I loved this girl. She replied back quickly, was not a catfish, and to meet her family, I had no desire. I think it was her cleavage. Yes, it was. One of her boobs, slightly bigger, resembled a vulture. Bald and shiny with just a touch of fuzz. Whenever I swiped right, my blood ran down to my lower half. Very gradually, I made up my mind to invite her over for some Netflix and chill. Now at this point, you might fancy me a horny man. Horny men know nothing, but you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded, how carefully I ate that day, with what foresight. Pepto lined the inside of my stomach. I went to work. I've never been kinder to a female, other than my mother, for the last 12 hours we've matched for. It was about 7 at night when she came over, hands filled with Chinese takeout. You would have laughed if you saw my anxious face when I saw her pull out that General Tso's. She did it slowly. Oh, so slowly, almost like a taunt. Stomach fell flat, but would a horny man like me be so wise to ignore the feeling? I tried to eat cautiously, oh so cautiously, only scraping at the white rice, carefully ignoring any sauce, for it does not sit well with me. I kept quiet, still, and said nothing. For a whole hour I did not move a muscle, and in the meantime I did not hear her chow down. She was scraping at the plate, feeling uncomfortable to eat in front of me, as I just picked at the rice. Presently, I heard a slight groan. I knew it was the groan of a woman who just wanted to feast. I knew what to do from the bottom of the soul when overcharged with awe. I must pig out. She must be comfortable. I knew what the food would do, and I petted my tummy, although I chuckled at heart and began eating viciously. I knew that it was deadly after the first few bites. My fears had been ever since growing, but before I could even excuse myself, I tooted. It is nothing but the wind in the chimney. It is only a mouse crossing the floor, or it is merely a cricket which has made a single chirp, or all excuses used to comfort her and myself. Shit, approaching me, had stalked with black vengeance, only a matter of time before she became a victim to the smell. But yet I refrained and kept still. I scarcely let one loose. I tried how steadily I could to retrain any more loose lips. Meanwhile, the hellish rumbles from the gut increased. It grew quicker and quicker, and louder every instant. This woman's terror must have been extreme. It grew louder. I say louder every moment. Do you mark me well? I have told you that I have a stomachache. And now at the dead hour of the night, amid the dreadful silence of that condo, so strange a noise as this put me and my guest at an uncomfortable terror. Yet, for some minutes longer, I refrained and stood still, but the fart grew louder and louder. I thought my ass must burst soon. And now a new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. With the quick reaction of tilting to one side, lifting the left leg slightly arose, she shrieked once, but only once. In an instant, I dragged myself to the bathroom to check my underwear. I pulled my Hanes boxers out and I smiled gaily, only to find not one streak on those undies. Then, only of minutes returning, the rumble started again. She questioned me on the matter, almost like a police investigator with a stern tone. Was that a fire? I smiled, for what do I have to fear? That noise you heard was just the floorboards. I got up and directed her the loose board that cracked when stepped on just right. She was satisfied. My manner had convinced her. I was strangely at ease. She sat back down and we picked the movie. I moved closer, waiting for a chance to make my move for a kiss. But a year long, I felt myself getting pale and wished she was gone. My head ached, and I fancied a gargling in my butt. She still sat and watched the movie, having no idea the pain I am in. The gurgling became more distinct. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued and gained a louder bass and tone with it, until at length I found the noise was not within my ears. No doubt, I now grew very pale, but I talked more freely and with a heightened voice, yet the rumbles increased. And what could I do? It was a low, dull, quick sound. I gasped for a breath, turned the volume up on the movie, and yet the woman heard it not. I talked more quickly and loudly, almost like I was competing for the louder voice over the TV, but again, the rumble steadily increased. I stood up and paced around the room while the tummy aches grew louder and louder. Why had she not left? I continued to pace the floor to and fro with heavy strides, as if excited to fury the observations of the woman. But the noise steadily increased. Oh God, what could I do? I farted, I tooted, I sharked. I swung my leg up and tilted to the side once more. The rumble shifted right to my asshole, but the noise arose continually increased. It grew louder, louder, and louder, and still the woman watched the movie pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible she heard not? The stink face that tattooed her was a great indicator at this point. God, oh no. She heard, she suspects, she knows. She was making a mockery of my bowel syndrome. This, I thought, and this, I think. But anything was better than this agony. Get this out of me. Anything is more tolerable than holding in such a fart for so long. I could not bear that stink face no longer. I felt that I must shit or die. And now, again, louder, 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 and louder. Bitch! Get out, I shrieked. A shit is a brewing. I admit the deed. The fart turned to a poop, and I can no longer hold it. She headed for the door with a face of disgust. She mentions we should not do this again. As I laid on the floor of my own filth, removing the neck mesh from my bowels, I proclaimed, so no second date? Moral of the story, whoever smelt it merely is the one who dealt it. The end.